It has to be brought up under normal procedures. No, it's probably not going to come up, and it probably wouldn't pass. If it's a privileged resolution under the War Powers Resolution, they'll have to bring it up. But I don't think you can do that until after 60 days to make them vote on it or make a decision. So, no, I don't think much is happening, but, you know, we have a continuing resolution coming up, right. And I've talked to a few people on this that we should work on the continuing resolution and just say defund it. That could happen quicker, and then they have to have the continuing resolution. So if we could put that amendment in there, this might slow things up. But unfortunately, there's too much of a precedent for the president making these decisions. I think that's where the real crime is. So yes, the executive branch and our presidents overstep, but Congress understeps. Congress is too often giving up their prerogatives and accepting what the executive branch does.
Did the president satisfy you in his speech tonight, Congressman Paul, that he has a goal, that he has an objective, that it's realistic, and that we'll know when the goal is met?
No, there's no way, because the way we're going in there, we don't know who the enemy is. It's an undeclared war. We don't know how long we're staying. So it's impossible for him to do it. Even if he stated it, it wouldn't mean a whole lot because of the conditions. If he all of a sudden says, well, our goal is to assassinate Gaddafi, you know, that still doesn't solve the problems, and he's not going to say that. He's leaving that up in the air because he knows it's against federal law that you're not supposed to go out and assassinate foreign leaders. And yet he goes and thinks you can start a war without even talking to the Congress. So it doesn't really add up.
What is the realistic expectation of real anger on the part of the Congress from Republicans and Democrats? I don't know if you heard it, but shortly before you came on, Congressman Charlie Rangel was here. He agrees with everything you're saying about the president overstepping his bounds and violating the Constitution. If Charlie Rangel and Dennis Kucinich agree with Ron Paul and Rand Paul, couldn't we have a broad consensus in the Congress to stop this war and stop it now?
Well, you'd think maybe it was a hint about our coalition, you know, to get out of Afghanistan after 10 years, but we only had 93 votes on that.
Right.
So, no, I mean, you've heard some of the Republicans in leadership position, you know, they say we need to know more, but many of them are criticizing the president for not going in soon enough.
Got it.
You know, so a lot of Republicans will be there. So we have a ways to go, but we're making progress. The people I've been talking to, especially here at North Carolina State, there was a large agreement with what I'm talking about with Libya.
Congressman Paul, thanks very much for joining us. War sure does create strange bedfellows. It's got liberal Democrats and small government libertarians united to stop these actions in Libya. They meet together right here on Freedom Watch next. Not attacked the U.S. and has not threatened to attack the U.S. And if that country, according to our Secretary of Defense, is not an imminent threat to the U.S., can the president on his own, without a declaration of war from the Congress, invade that country? Tonight, President Obama and the war in Libya. You just heard President Obama defend his decision to go to war with Libya. He waited 10 days to give you an explanation for the loss of billions in military hardware and unknown numbers of human lives. 10 days ago, when he surprised the nation with the announcement that he had just dispatched U.S. jet fighters to establish a no-fly zone over Libya, he was in reality announcing a radical change in the relationship the United States has had with Libya. He made the announcement that Colonel Gaddafi, who was once our enemy and then our friend, had become our enemy again. And he made this announcement while he was on a trip to Brazil and the Congress was on vacation. He later admitted that he had, in fact, decided to do this 5 days earlier while he was in Washington and the Congress was in session. He told us that he expects this mission to be short, that its goals are to help the rebels, and the U.S. has no intention of killing Gaddafi. Killing Gaddafi? Just who does the president think he is? He can't lawfully kill Gaddafi unless the U.S. declares war on Libya. And the U.S. can't lawfully declare war on Libya unless it is a material threat to our national security. The president, a former lecturer in constitutional law at one of the best law schools in the nation, surely knows that only the Congress can declare war. You just heard him attempt to justify his decision by arguing that his goals are humanitarian and not military. And for that reason, he doesn't consider this a war. When he says that, quote, as commander-in-chief, I face no greater decision, close quote, than to send American service personnel into harm's way, he misunderstands the nature of his job as president. The president, under our Constitution, does not decide to send troops into war. The Congress does. And yet he has. In 10 days, he has established a no-fly zone over Libya. He has dropped twice the number of bombs on Libya than were dropped on us at Pearl Harbor. And he has reportedly dispatched Marines into Libya, the so-called boots on the ground, in order to help locate the targets that our jets are bombing. Now that the Libyan Air Force has been destroyed, he is using the U.S. military to take the side of the rebels and to kill Libyan military. Look, Gaddafi is a monster, but his military is fighting an insurgency. Who are we to take sides? Can we really afford to wander the world looking for monsters to slay? If that is to be our foreign policy, and if this is to be the start of it, where will it go from here? You see, not far from Libya, in Syria, for example, the government has recently murdered peaceful demonstrators who dared to take to the streets and criticize the government. The same is happening in Bahrain, in Yemen, and in Saudi Arabia. Why are some of these police states propped up by us while Libya is being invaded by us? A month ago, Libya was our friend. Senior officials in the State Department actually met with Gaddafi's son in Washington. And shortly thereafter, President Obama asked Congress to increase the financial aid we give to his government. What will happen to Gaddafi? What do you think will happen to Gaddafi? The president just told the nation that he wants Gaddafi out of office. And Gaddafi says he'll only leave in a box. How many others will President Obama confine to coffins before his self-willed goal is reached? During this past hour, your night watchman, our team at Freedom Watch, has provided you with feedback from Republicans and Democrats in Congress and pro-war and anti-war experts at think tanks and from the media. All have agreed on one thing. The president has treated the Congress as if it were a potted plant. By doing that, he violated the Constitution. Did he persuade you tonight that this non-war is worth fighting for? Do you want a government where the president tricks Congress into letting him invade the same country for which a month ago he asked Congress to authorize millions in foreign aid? Shall we roam the world seeking monsters to slay and monsters to support when we're bankrupt at home? I think it may have been Mark Twain who said that in life there are no lasting friendships, there are no lasting enmities, there are only lasting interests. It must be in the president's interest to wage this war. Is it in America's interest? Is it in yours? Tomorrow on Freedom Watch, former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson, who hates this war and wants to be president, and Congressman Tim Johnson, no relation, who wants Congress to force the president to pull all of our troops from Libya by the end of the week. From New York, defending freedom every night of the week. So long, America.